Guitar now. I've been walking Central Park, singing after dark. People think I'm crazy. I've been walking through the streets, shuffling on my feet, asking people, what's the matter with you, boy? Sometimes I want to say to myself, sometimes I say, I guess I'm lying to myself. It's just you and no one else. Lord, I won't miss you, child. You've been blotting out my mind.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a celebration of life for an amazing man, my good friend, our good friend, and in every sense of the word, our brother, Jamie Wilkinson. Tonight you will see and hear about a man that was loved by everyone he came in contact with. Teachers, students, colleagues, bandmates, friends, medical and hospital staff, and of course his family all have very fond and sometimes very funny memories of Jamie. From his distinct, infectious laugh and his smile to his work ethic, he was endeared by all those who were around him. For those who do not know me, my name is Paul Loder, and I have the absolute pleasure to have known Jamie for the last 20 years. First to attending Munn Music here in this building, to working side by side with him in a school classroom, and eventually playing in a band with him for the last 10 years. The band we played in is Redline. You'll hear us play a little later on. We've got every member that has ever played with Jamie here. There's about 15 years of members here. And it's been a pleasure to come together. We wish it was under different circumstances, but it's been a pleasure to come together for this evening. So where do I start? First off, let me say, this is not what I expected to be doing this evening. I would much rather be here with you all in different circumstances. And as we see by the turnout here this evening, Jamie was well loved and well respected by everyone he met. This past weekend, I was approached and asked if I would offer my time to MC this event. And without hesitation, I gave a definitive yes, no problem, anything I can do to help. I previously had the honor of MCing Jamie and Heather's wedding in 2012, and here we are full circle. Besides family and work, Jamie's love was music. He was the consummate musician. And the boys in the band would often joke that Jamie would play opening of a pet store if he was asked. His love for all things music was evident in his passion for performing, his passion for teaching, and as of late, writing and recording some original music. As a member of a band, we really got to know each other's lives. Sometimes a little too much, but we're not going to get into that this evening, so there's stories we can't tell, so no worries. In every sense of the word, we became a family of brothers. A bond built between a musician is a special one. We share and experience each other's loves, losses, elations, victories, and fails. We have each other's back when we need it. We hold each other in high esteem when things are good. We also are the ones that give each other a kick in the ass when it's needed too. That's what a family is all about. We have shared in Heather and Jamie's journey, especially over the last few years. Through all the ups and downs, the good and the bad, I remember one gig in particular a few years back when we noticed Jamie was progressively getting sicker and was affecting him while playing. We're playing Club V on George Street, and during the second set, Jamie was growing more and more weary. As we played, it escalated to the point where he stopped drumming and said to us, "Boys, I can't do it. I'm too sick. I have to stop." He made his way to the couch in the back of the club and lived there while we reorganized and finished the night. Shortly after that, he was airlifted to Toronto. We had no idea it was as serious as it was. After spending some time in Ontario, he came back home to Newfoundland, and we made a plan for him to move from the drum kit to playing bass for us. It's less stressful and less physical. And this is where he stayed until he and Heather relocated to Toronto. He stayed heavily involved with the band while in Toronto. You'd figure once he left, that was it? No. Jamie was heavily involved with booking the band. We often joked that Jamie was our manager in Toronto. We were the only Newfoundland cover band with a manager in Toronto. We hit the big time. Up until the day Jamie passed, he was holding hope that someday he could come back and play with us on stage again. Madonna told us last night that one of the few things that Jamie said last was he was hoping the band would still be together when he came home. Unfortunately, this has not come to fruition. We now have a huge, indelible hole in our family. It can never be filled. It is an immeasurable pleasure for all current and past members of the band to have played with Jamie. We've played, lived, loved, laughed, argued, and go through life challenges together. And Jamie and Heather, we're immensely honored to be part of a life well lived. Tonight you will hear from some people that can testify to Jamie's amazing and absolute will and desire to be the best person he could possibly have been. Whether he was teaching privately or teaching in the public school system, musically molding the minds of the young and old alike. You will hear tonight from his incredible doctor that made the trip all the way from London in the UK just to speak here this evening. This is an amazing testament to the person that is Jamie. You will also hear this evening from an amazing, strong, resilient woman that was by his side through the good and the bad alike, Jamie's beautiful wife, Heather. She will regale you in a life story that will lead from Newfoundland to Toronto and all points in between. A life led by the affectionately named Lannon, his mechanical heart that allowed Jamie the ability to share his time and his talents and his love with those around him for just a little bit longer. I'm going to ask the boys in the back, they're going to come out now, and we're going to play a song for you. So, guys. As mentioned earlier, one of Jamie's passions in life was the group of guys you're going to see here today. Current and former members of the band have come together to play a couple of his favorites this evening. Performing tonight, we have 15 years of Red Line members. We have Jim Spurl, Mitch Fowler, Chris Martin, Curtis Peckham, Brian Efford, Mike Whitten, Mike Jenkins, and myself. The first tune you're going to hear from us this evening is a favorite of Jamie's. When he first brought this song to the band, we all thought he had completely lost his mind. Yes, he did. He was the only one to have heard this song at the moment. We rehearsed that song in the basement of Lockheed Street, and we played it the following weekend in the little Dory Marystown. The club went crazy. They loved it. Jamie was right. Didn't want to admit it, but Jamie was right. The floor was jammed, and they sang along with fervor. Who knew it would be the phenomenon that it is today? Before we start, though, I must tell you that before every gig we played, Jamie had to have two things ready. One was a glass of water, and boys, what was the other one? A Pepsi. So, all right, Jamie, you're all ready, buddy. You can drink up now, you had to measure it. This song also is one of the tunes that Jamie would sing nightly with us. And Heather told me this past weekend that this was actually the last song that Jamie played on guitar and sang in their new home. We hope you have your singing voices ready. Here's Wagon Wheel. had a nice talk too, but he'd be heading west to the Cumberland Gap, to Johnson City, Tennessee. Well, I gotta get a move on, head for the sun. Till my baby comes London, and I know that she's the only one. And if I die early, at least I will die free. Yeah! So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Sing along with us, come on. Hey! Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Come on. Here we go. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Come on. Let's do one more time. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Sing it. Rock me, mama, and wait. Woo! Oh, yeah. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Come on. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Yeah! Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. One more time, boys. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Mama, rock me. Mama, rock me. Mama, rock me. So wait a couple of seconds for the boys to take their seats there for a second. Boys, we finally got summer, didn't we? Leave to Jamie to give us the hottest day of the year. As you all know, Jamie was an incredible music teacher, both privately and in the public school system. For a number of years before coming sick, Jamie was the resident music specialist at St. Michael's Regional High on Belle Island. He loved working at the school, despite the daily grind of ferries and their unpredictable running schedules. Through the wind, ice, snow delays, the faculty, staff, and students kept Jamie coming back to the island. He was so dearly beloved by his students on Belle Island, and he made an impression on that community. If you get the chance, please check out some posts from his former students that they wrote on their beloved Mr. Whizzle's Facebook page. Yeah, they call him Mr. Whizzle. There are also so many other tributes over Facebook and other social media that we couldn't read them out to see, and there are so many. He was loved by all. Our first guest this evening made the trek across the Tickle today to be here and share some memories of Jamie from the Belle Island perspective. Please welcome the principal of St. Michael's Regional High, Ms. Tanya Kearly.
Thank you, Paul. Good evening, everybody. And that's not a band, that's an orchestra. It took you 3 minutes to sit down. Good evening, everybody. And thank you, Red Line, for playing Wagon Wheel. And because it's something that Jamie and I fought about all the time. And my husband, Kelly, sitting next to me, probably noticed that it's the first time ever in my life I have sung along with Wagon Wheel, because I don't like that song. and Jamie just won, because I had to follow Redline at his tribute after having sung along to Wagon Wheel. That dirty bugger. And you know what? That's what I'm going to talk to you about. And there's a lot of stuff that I could say that I shouldn't be. I won't, because I love my job. But every staff member currently working at St. Michael's and working in other locations with the Newfoundland and Labrador English School District or beyond, currently in the system or moved out of it, and every student knows that Jamie Wilkinson, or Wizzle, or any of the other names that we had on him, knows that he was a really remarkable character that there's no way 10 evenings of tributes could describe the Jamies that we know. And when Heather and Paul asked me to get up and say a few words, I was very honored to do so, and I have a number of hats on when I do it. I'm here as the principal of St. Michael's, but I wasn't principal when I started at St. Michael's, and Jamie and I we shared a wall for some of our classes, and I have a couple of recollections of what it was like to share a wall. And also, as I transitioned into administration, Jamie was somebody that I really learned how to become an administrator, working with Jamie Wilkinson. And also I have the hat of a parent. I've had two of my students be children that he brought souvenirs home to, and they brought souvenirs home to him whenever they traveled. They adored him, most of the time. Sometimes not after report card time. And because they're musicians themselves, and they expected that, well, hey, they're musicians, they're going to get 100 from Mr. Wilkinson. Never got 100 from Mr. Wilkinson. And I was really pleased that they didn't, because they respected him a great deal because of that. And I am up here as well, and it's an awesome responsibility and a privilege to represent my colleagues at St. Michael's, because we all knew Jamie in very different ways. So I've got a little list here on my iPhone, and just to let you know, some people probably don't know this about Jamie, because he was very proficient musically, but technically sometimes he got easily frustrated. And he was the first teacher in our school, however, to have an Apple TV console. Just want to put that out there. He was the first teacher who fought to have something really advanced in the classroom, and it was so that he could get really cool things up on his whiteboard for students. He was really, really a leading person in ways that may surprise some people. But I'm just going to back it up a little tiny bit. So I got a call 2 weeks ago, and I don't have a ringer on the phone in my office. I can hear it when my door is open, but I see the number pop up, and I saw Jamie's cell number, and I tried to grab it before the secretary outside did. And I said, "What's going on?" Then he said, "They got a heart." I said, "Very good. So how long will you have to wait?" He said, "Tomorrow." And I said, "Oh my God, Jamie, tomorrow." He said, "Or next day." He said, "Depends." So we chit-chatted for a little while, and we laughed, and I think everybody in here, clap your hands if you knew that Jamie Wilkinson had a filthy sense of humor. Okay. Okay, good. Just so I know my audience. That was my favorite thing about Jamie. I could really be comfortable around Jamie, and he really knew how to make everybody in a room feel comfortable, like every single person. And his sense of self-effacing humor was a way that made everybody feel comfortable about whatever the circumstance was. So I said, so what are you going to do? And we laughed and we reminisced, and we always had a couple of stories that we always liked to laugh about, and they're filthy, and I'm not going to tell you, but if anybody wants to hear them afterwards, I'll be out in the lobby. By the guitar, where our students have pre-cut some pieces of paper, and there are pens out there, and it's a little J Junior guitar that used to belong to my daughters, Naomi and Thames, and we're stuffing it with love notes. To Jamie and to Heather, and so anyone here who hasn't already written a little love note, please feel free to just pop that in there. So we were laughing, and I said, now Jamie, seriously, what's going to happen when they get you in there, they open you up, they take out yours, make room for this new one, and what happens if they can't? It gets funnier after this. I know this is a serious spot. He says, Tanya, I don't want mine back. He said, I've already given my heart. I have already given everything that I can with that heart. And I said, you are absolutely right. And I said, you signed your donor card. You're all ready. He said, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. And I said, you know, we've received your heart. There's not a child that has come through St. Michael's that your heart doesn't already beat in. There's not one student, there's not one member of our school community that isn't already a recipient of Jamie Wilkinson's heart. And a couple of years ago, Paul, when the Operation Get Wilkinson was happening, I'd like to see the dollar amounts from those different events, because I think the curling club Operation Wilkinson on Bell Island probably raised as much money as the St. John's ones. Bell Island turned out in spades. The place was chinched because everybody loves Jamie. And I know that Jamie's family owns Jamie, but Jamie owned us. Jamie was an excellent teacher, but he hated lesson plans. I don't even know if he ever did one, as a matter of fact. Clap your hands if you're a teacher who worked with Jamie Wilkinson and knows that he never did lesson plans. But by God, did he ever teach? He taught more than sometimes all of us put together. He had what needed to be done in a classroom, and the teacher's creed is, above all, do nothing to diminish hope. Above all. Imagine this, what a perfect saying for a man named Jamie Wilkinson, who's a teacher. Above all, do nothing to diminish hope. That's how he lived. He walked into a classroom, and he was one of the kids. He really, sometimes it was infuriating. He was one of the kids, and they knew it. He was one of them. They trusted him. They had an ally. He sometimes didn't watch his language around the students, and they loved him for that. They trusted him. He was a teacher that kept coming back every September, and I know what it's like to be a teacher from the other side. The very first year I returned, I had students say, Miss, you're back. Yeah, on Bell Island, that's everything. Miss, sir, you're back. They just assumed Jamie was coming back every year because he was one of them. First time I ever heard the word brutal. I never heard of that word before, except other than in Viking movies or something, if something was brutal or it was a terrible hardship. But you know how he said it, right? Everybody know? Has everyone heard Jamie Wilkinson say the word brutal before? Brutal! There were this whole generation of children on Bell Island who are now young adults, raising children, who say brutal. We've got kids coming up through the school system whose grandparents don't know where this came from. It came from Jamie Wilkinson. Brutal. Or, I have to stand back from the mic to do this one. Get out! only much slower. Then that was his classroom management. And the kids knew that if you got to that stage, you were really after. If you pushed Jamie Wilkinson to the point where he had to tell you to get out, then you were brutal. The kids worshipped him. Even the kids that, well, as Paul mentioned a little while ago, the testimonies on in the social media. There was one that I'll never forget, a young man who said, and I'm not going to quote it, but it's there, go find it, it's funny. He said, "Sir, you tried to make me play the guitar or whatever instrument it was, but you and I both know the only thing I could play was sports." And that's a task. When you're a music teacher coming to a community which has a reputation for being musical, and to get kids to want to invest themselves in music that's relevant to them, which is why it's really cool that you started with Wagon Wheel. And I loved your story about how you didn't all buy into it. It was Jamie's vision. He said, "No, we're doing this because it's going to work." Every spring concert, every Christmas cafe, every event that we ever had at our school highlighted the voices and the spirit of children who were singing a song that was perfect for them. Children getting up with Jamie on stool accompanying them, hundreds of kids over the years, belting out numbers that were on the top 40 or on Nan and Pop's mixtapes or records at home that were perfect for them. He just knew. He knew what the spark was inside every kid, whether it was Pat Benatar or Kenny Rogers or the Beatles or you name it. He was so diverse and had such a broad appreciation for what every child brought to his classroom. Every kid has to do music. Not every kid wants to do music. And there are children who, as soon as word got out that that Whizzle or Wilkie or Silky Wilkie, whatever their names were, I've had hundreds of students, past and present, and kids that never even had them, ask me, message me, text me, Facebook message me, any way they could, say, "What are we going to do? How are we going to support Mr. Wilkinson?" And young enough to be so naive as to not really know what's the right thing to do. We've had one kid, and I was telling Heather the other day, one kid wants to do a ball hockey tournament for Jamie Wilkinson. That's the dedication. They whatever they can do, they want to do it. He is a Bell Islander. I know he's from Flat Rock, but he's a Bell Islander. As a co-worker, Jamie brought a lot to our staff that without him we miss it. There are people who needed him in ways that they didn't realize they needed him until he was gone. Anybody get a ride from our designated driver before? Jamie was the designated driver, and not just a vehicle. He was our designated driver in life, right? I'm looking down at my iPhone. I'm not avoiding you. I know that there's going to be lots more great music played here this evening, and I know that the students who are here, who have grown into fine young lovely people, and he was a part of that. And not all of them are here this evening, but many are. They have music, and they wouldn't have without him. And I think it's awesome, you know, that he's an organ donor. And long before he needed, you know, his heart transplant, he'd already given that heart away. You only had a loan of him. His family and his friends, we only had a loan of him, but we all have that heart. And I can tell you right now that it's sad that we're here. It really is. But it is so beautiful. And I will tell you that we're blessed at St. Michael's, and you folks may not all see this because you don't work in the schools, but we see it every day. We see children who have music because of wonderful music teachers. And Jamie, when I first met Jamie, I thought he was a musician that needed to get a day job. I accused him of that one time. We were having an argument. I said, go on. You're just a bar gigger who needed a day job. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong. Because when I was sick and tired of hearing Seven Nations Army through my wall day after day after day, year after year, whether my office was 2 doors down from him or upstairs, no matter where I ended up in the school, Seven Nations Army started pretty rough every year. I didn't even know what it was the first time I heard it. But I could tell where we were in the school year by how friggin' wicked they sounded, and how close we were getting to June by how good Seven Nations Army sounded. And every year you could track the sun by him bringing those kids from the beginning to not the end, but to the beginning of something that they knew they had a finished product, and they were ready to leave us and go out in the world and say, I play bass, I am a drummer, I play guitar, I play lead electric triangle. Whatever he had them playing, they were a master. And that's the Jamie that we know. And I'm very, very privileged to have worked with them. And thank you for having me here this evening.
Yes, I can tell you as a guy who did some substituting for Jamie, there was no such thing as a lesson plan. He'd give me a call the night before and go, Paul, I need you for tomorrow. Okay, what's your lesson plan? You make it up. Just do what you do and then we're fine. Thanks, Jamie. So actually, I'll tell you another story. From one day I was over substituting at St. Michael's, and Jamie was there that day, so I was in for someone else. And I was in the classroom next to Jamie's, and I guess the kids at the time didn't know that I knew Jamie. And I heard this roar come from the classroom next door, and Jamie was giving it. He was letting someone have it. And this one kid looked at me and said, Sir, that's Mr. Wilkinson. He's going to have a heart attack one of these days. I said, yeah. And he never let up. He never let up. Our next guest we have for you today is no stranger to Jamie and Heather. Her name is Dr. Vivienne Ezzat. Dr. Ezzat is the consultant electrophysiologist with a special interest in congenital heart disease at St. Bartholomew's Hospital in London, England. Whew. They first met Vivienne shortly after they both arrived in Toronto. Jamie was having many electrical heart issues, and at the same time as Vivienne had just begun her training at the Peter Monk Cardiac Center, and they bonded instantly. Vivienne became more than just a doctor. She also became a friend, having them both over to her place at lunch, or for supper, at Christmas, and drinks and dinner. Dr. Ezzat actually ended up implanting Jamie's pacemaker and defibrillator. When her training came to an end in Toronto, Vivienne returned to the UK and is now working at St. Bartholomew's Hospital. Despite the distance, she remained close with Heather and Jamie, and we are delighted that she flew across the pond from London to be a part of the day's event. But Jamie, being Jamie, would often say to Heather, Man, I'm so glad I got the hot doctor. That's Jamie. No joke, that's Jamie. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give an enormously warm Newfoundland welcome to the amazingly and talented Dr. Vivienne Ezzat.
Thank you, Paul. So I'm keeping this short because I'm not very good at speaking at the best of times, and I didn't want to get too emotional. But I was so honoured when Heather asked me to speak. honoured and really touched. And she said, well, I want some people from different areas of Jamie's life to talk about him, and I thought it would be nice if maybe you could talk about him as a patient. And she went on to explain that she thought maybe a lot of people pictured Jamie as a patient, like a sick guy lying in a hospital bed, and she wanted people to know that Jamie wasn't that guy at all. And it struck me when I was trying to think of what to say that I'd never really thought of Jamie as a patient. He made it very easy for me not to think of him as a patient. He made it very easy for everybody around him not to think of him as a patient, which is kind of quite an impressive thing to do when you're carrying an artificial heart around in a bag that's permanently attached to you. As you heard, Jamie and Heather arrived in Toronto at almost about the same time that I did, autumn 2014. Jamie because he was unwell, me because I was starting a fellowship at Toronto General. Neither they nor I knew anybody else in Toronto. I was in the luxurious position of wandering around the city in September in the sun, doing a bit of sightseeing, settling into a new job and a new condo, having a break from the hustle and bustle of London. Jamie was coming to terms with the fact that after being relatively stable for some time and being able to forget about the fact that he had a heart condition, his body was now reminding him that this was not the case, and in fact his heart was failing. To many other people, this would seem really unfair, not unreasonably, and they might find themselves thinking, well, why me? But not Jamie. I'm sure he wasn't exactly pleased with the situation he found himself in, but he took it on the chin. He always listened to our advice, and he got on with it. He wasn't overly anxious about his health, but he didn't take it for granted either. He had an unbelievably positive and yet realistic attitude to every obstacle he came across in his journey over the last few years. And from that point of view, he was the perfect patient. He paid attention when his meds were changed. He knew what was going on with his body. He was cautious when he needed to be, and not when he didn't. I remember meeting Jamie and Heather for lunch on one of my trips back from Toronto, and us looking at the menu, and I can't remember exactly what Jamie ordered. I think it might have been a burger or something, but I do remember thinking, there's quite a lot of salt in that, which is something that's kind of a no-no for Jamie. To which he replied, well, I've been good all week, deliberately, so I could save up this treat to have lunch with you. When my boyfriend and I invited Jamie and Heather over for drinks in Toronto, Christmas before last, I wondered if they might feel uncomfortable coming, as the only other person I knew that they'd know apart from me was a doctor who'd also looked after him. But he was there in a heartbeat, sorry, bad pun, and threw himself into meeting my boyfriend's friends and chatting, laughing away, and the two of them were the last people to leave the party. When his defibrillator fired, Jamie didn't exactly love it or thank me for it, but he was grateful it had saved his life. When his lung pressures were too high to have a transplant initially, he made friends with his new companion, Lannon, the VAD, who in turn repaid Jamie by giving him the chance to get out of hospital and back to the band that he loved. And when the opportunity finally came along to get a new heart, Jamie embraced it, as he had done everything along the way, with bravery, positivity, and enthusiasm. He was an absolute inspiration as a patient, but moreover, simply as a human being. I feel unbelievably lucky to have had the privilege of looking after Jamie, but more importantly, of getting to know him and Heather as friends. Heather, I hope you, your family, and Jamie's family can take some comfort in knowing Jamie's charm, energy, and humour were a constant source of pleasure and inspiration for those at TGH who are lucky enough to meet him. And Jamie, I will miss you dearly, not as a patient, although you were a very good one, but as my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan, for all you've done for Jamie. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here this evening. I'm going to ask the boys to come back up and we're going to do another song for you. So it's no secret that Jamie's favorite band, well, was the Beatles, you know. So we all decided to wear some rock shirts tonight just for Jamie. Figured suit to be over too dressed for Jamie. So the band is going to play today. The second number is called Twist and Shout. Besides being one of Jamie's favorites, it was also the song that they played in the hospital when he passed. Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as the boys bring up with the guitars, I guess it's just me. The boys are going to do a solo. The boys? Come on. So we spent a lot of time in this school, me and Jamie and all our crew. I see a lot of faces that were here with us when we were here for so many years. I never thought once I'd be singing the Beatles right there. Did a lot of German, a lot of French. No Beatles. Or Wagon Wheel. So our next speaker really needs no introduction. This beautiful lady was the love of Jamie's life and his best friend. At the drop of a hat, she uprooted her life, her family, her career here in Newfoundland to relocate to Toronto with the goal of Jamie getting better and eventually moving back home. She's going to talk to you today about the life of Jamie after he received his heart pump. Please join me in a very warm welcome to Jamie's beautiful wife, Heather.
Paul's a lot taller than me.
No problem. Right behind you.
Husband, partner in crime, strong, friend, brave, funny. These are all words that can be used to describe Jamie Wilkinson, but words alone will never be able to convey what a wonderful person he was. From the beginning of his life, Jamie was a fighter. He was born with a congenital heart defect and was not expected to survive. As a child, he became drawn to music and would later become a music teacher and share his gift with countless students. He enhanced his passion for music by attending Memorial University not once but twice for bachelor's and master's degrees in music and music education. My life became entwined with Jamie about 15 years ago when we were both working at the City of St. John's Summer Day Camp, and there's other camp staff here. We were drawn to each other instantly, but were just friends during our time working together. In June 2007, everything changed during a faithful meeting on the Sundance deck. It was the Teacher's Bash. Again, lots of people here from the Teacher's Bash. And I bumped into Jamie. What transpired was always a source of disagreement for Jamie and I, but I will admit, Jamie, yes, I told you I had a crush on you first. Despite my confession, I was very hesitant to get involved, and it took Jamie 8 months to convince me to go out with him. It was now 2008, and us becoming a couple coincided with Jamie getting sick. I would often joke to him that his heart just couldn't handle me. Even though his health was deteriorating, Jamie continued to live a normal life. He played with his band Redline, and he taught at St. Michael's High School on Bell Island. We bought our first home and traveled to England, New York, and Seattle. Nothing stopped Jamie. Even though he was sicker than he let on, he was determined to live life and enjoy everything this world had to offer. By 2010, we were engaged, and Jamie's health continued to deteriorate. I specifically remember one night at the health science emergency, he looked me in the eye and said, "This is probably how it's going to be. It will never get better. It will only get worse. I'm giving you an out now, and that's okay. I totally understand." That's how he always was, looking out for everyone else, making sure we were all okay. Leaving wasn't an option for me, but I will say, Jamie, it was one hell of a ride. By 2012, things had gotten worse, but at the same time, it was also one of the best years of our lives. We were due to get married that summer, but as the wedding neared, Jamie got sicker and sicker. He could not work, he could not eat, he could not sleep, he couldn't even climb the stairs in our house to the bedrooms. We didn't know it at the time, but Jamie was dying. Another trip to the health science revealed the worst. Jamie was in advanced heart failure, and there was nothing that doctors could do for him here in St. John's. We had to go to Toronto for specialized treatment. While it was very scary, and it was a scary thing to do, it was the best decision we ever made. If Jamie had not connected with the medical team in Toronto, he would have died. The doctors worked diligently to get him stabilized so we could get home for the big day, and with 36 hours to spare, Jamie was discharged from Toronto General, and we got married on July 27, 2012. We then returned to Toronto for our honeymoon and checked into the beautiful Toronto General. From 2012 to 2014, we made 10 trips to Toronto so that Jamie could get the care he needed. These trips allowed Jamie to remain in Newfoundland and do all the things he loved to do. Play music, spend time with family and friends, and be the funny, loving person we all knew him to be. During this time, we continued to travel. We went to Europe twice. We built our dream home, complete with a stage for Redline to rock out on. As the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. And in October 2014, doctors suggest we move to Toronto so Jamie could be closer to the hospital. I will say this move was very hard on Jamie. He was miserable. He hated Toronto, he was so sick, he missed his family, and he wanted to go home. It was during these few months that I questioned if we had made the right decision. What was the point of being there if Jamie was miserable? In those few months, the medical challenges continued, with Jamie nearly dying from a code blue, having to have surgery to remove his thyroid, and having lovely Vivienne implant a pacemaker and defibrillator to save his life. 2015 was a year to remember, and as Paul said, That was when we welcomed a new addition to our family, Lannon, the pump. Doctors advised that Jamie's heart was so weak that he would not qualify for a heart transplant unless a VAD, a ventricle-assisted device, was implanted to compensate for his weakened heart. The surgery was risky. Only 2 VADs have been implanted in people like Jamie. One of those people lived, the other person died. Jamie decided to take the gamble and have the surgery. That's how he was. He always faced challenges head on. His goal was to get a transplant, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get that goal, even if it involves risk. Man, was he ever brave. Lannon came into our life, and again, I wondered if we had made the right choice. For the first 2 weeks after the surgery, Jamie wouldn't even look at the pump and made sure the nurses hid it under the blankets at all times. I was fearful he would never adjust to it. But being Jamie, he proved me wrong. Lannon allowed Jamie to live, and he brought back the old Jamie. Why, it was a pain to have to carry batteries and controllers everywhere. And yes, it was very strange to plug your husband into charge overnight. Lannon allowed us to have a life in Toronto, and most importantly, got Jamie well enough to get on the transplant list. What we were able to do in those 2 years in Toronto was short of amazing. From volunteering to orchestras and musicals, to mentoring other patients, to going to shows, sporting events, traveling, which was quite the experience when you try to get a guy with wires coming out of his belly across the border. Really fun. Jamie did it and never looked back. While Lannon certainly enhanced our lives, there were so many restrictions that came with him as well. The pump replaced Jamie's heartbeat, and he had no pulse. It was quite an experience the first time I lied in bed and listened to my husband whirl. Jamie was also on a very strict diet and a strict fluid restriction, which drove him mad. As we all know, he loved to feed a Mary Brown's, washed down with a glass of Pepsi, which is definitely not on the heart-friendly diet plan. So how did Jamie cope with all these challenges? In the only way he knew how, with music. I knew that he had dabbled in recording and songwriting, but I didn't know that he had actually finalized and perfected it until after he passed. So he actually wrote a pump song about Lannon and our experience in Toronto and recorded it. So I found it on his phone a couple of nights after he passed. So the lyrics are in the book, and I think Paul's going to take it away.
Stuck here in the big city, wonder what to do. Trying hard with all my might just to get back home to you. I miss you dear with all my heart, but that's a problem you see. This heart of mine is crapping out, now it's an alright pump for me. My love for you is flowing continuously, you'll see. The pump it runs on RPMs, no more heartbeats for me. My love for you, it sounds more like the motor of a GT. I need to get on that transplant list just to get back home to thee. The doctors do their very best to keep me going strong. You're never far from my mind, dear. My machine keeps pumping on. Your love flows through my veins, you see, just like my love for you. But that will not really matter much if the heart I have is not new. My love for you is flowing continuously, you pump it runs on RPMs, no more heartbeats for me. My love for you, it sounds more like the motor of a GT. I need to get on that transplant list just to get back home to thee. Watching while I'm eating, having trouble sleeping, honey, you're always on my mind. I spend my time thinking, wishing I was drinking more than 3 bottles of water at a time. Please love, do not worry, I'm not losing hope. I'm getting back to you right soon, this is not a joke. But while I'm here just battling to get over the hump, but never forget I love you, dear, from the bottom of my heart. My love for you is flowing continuously, you'll see. The pump it runs on RPMs, no more heartbeats for me. My love for you, it sounds more like the motor of a GT. I need to get on that transplant list just to get back home to thee. My love for you, it sounds more like the motor of a GT. I need to get on that transplant list just to get back home to thee. I need to get on that transplant list just to get back home to thee.
So the last picture that was there was just minutes before he was taken to surgery for his transplant. And myself and Madonna and Bridget were there, and that was the last picture of a family of 3. So that is the last picture of Jamie and I. So I think it's safe to say not many people get the opportunity to perform at their own funeral. So Jamie, you're one of a kind. The second last picture was actually when we got the call. So as you could tell, we were pretty excited. So how it all, I guess, went down was Jamie got the call for his new heart. He was so excited. I was at work, and he sent me a text, and because this is live streamed, I can't say what the text said. But it said, "Get the home, they got a heart for me." Typical Jamie. He was nervous, but so excited. This was the end goal. He was at the finish line. It's 5 years in the making. He could see the future, and we were going home. Jamie marched over to the hospital with his knapsack on his back. He still had to take all the batteries and the controllers and all the pump supplies. And he walked so confidently, or I should say he skipped. He was skipping to the hospital to get his new heart. We even talked about going home Christmas. We thought we would be home in 6 months after the transplant. I knew he was scared, but he put on a brave smile. And as he was wheeled into surgery, he said, and it was just so Jamie, he said to the doctors who wheeled him in, "Come on, boys, let's get this show on the road." It saddens me to know that the very thing he wanted so bad is what actually led to his passing, and this is just so cruel and unfair. Despite this, he would not want us to be bitter. He would want us to be laughing, eating poutine, and having a jam. While his death was tragic, he did not fail. He achieved his goal. He did come home to Newfoundland with a brand new heart. In his last few days, when every other part of his body failed, all his other organs shut down, that new heart kept beating. I am confident that Jamie knew he got his new heart. Jamie was a person who always wanted to help others. As someone else said, he would spend the wee hours of a Saturday night driving every single person home from downtown just to make sure they got home okay. Or as Tanya can attest, he would be on Bell Island all hours helping a student get ready for a recital or accompany a student to a music event. That's who he was. When he became sick, he became even more determined to help people like him. He became involved in many charities that promoted organ donation, and he became a mentor at the hospital and for the pump program. He used his story to create awareness about the VAD program and was a mentor to patients waiting for VADs. Most recently, he got involved with the Ronald McDonald House and started teaching kids at the school there who were also suffering from illnesses. Jamie's wish was that his legacy live on and that donations in his honor be made to two charities, the VAD program at the Peter Monk Cardiac Center, where he was a patient, as well as Hope Air, a charity that provides free flights to people who must travel for medical reasons like we did. Even at his passing, he was still helping people. His wish was to be an organ donor because he knew what it was like to wait. I am happy to say that this happened and other lives were saved. He was so grateful for the wonderful care that he received at Toronto General that he donated his old heart so doctors could learn more about heart disease. While he did not live a long life, he definitely lived a fulfilling one. He never wanted to be defined by his illness. When recently interviewed by The Telegram, he said, "I don't want to be known as Sick Jamie. I want to be known as the Jamie who lives life." And that's what he did. He was motivating and inspiring. He was silly. He was kind. He could always be counted on to bring a guitar to a party, and even at Vivienne's house, we were the last people to leave that party. He had the gift of gab, and while it might have taken him long to get to the punchline, when he did, you were in stitches. He loved food, and sometimes I think he loved food more than he loved me, and there was nothing better than a Big Mac with the boys at 4 a.m. after gigging. Even when we relocated to Toronto, he was still active in Redline, and as Paul said, he took on the role as band managers. Everyone loved him. He was one of those guys that was always smiling and would say, "Please God," whenever you said goodbye. He would crack up and clap his hands at your jokes, even when they weren't funny, and he would be at your side in a moment's notice. I don't think he ever realized the impact he had on each other. He never wanted to take credit for anything, and he would never hear tell of you calling him strong. Despite everything he went through, you never once would hear him complain. He took all of his challenges in stride and always told me he didn't worry because there was others worse off. Jamie was never afraid of dying, but he was afraid of if those left behind would be okay. In keeping with this theme, I chose his final song as a song that would give us hope, peace, and comfort at this difficult time. The first movie Jamie and I saw together in the theater was P.S. I Love You. For those of you who haven't seen it, the movie tells the story of 30-year-old Holly, whose husband, Jerry, dies suddenly. Knowing how hard it would be for Holly to move on, Jerry plans ahead, leaving a series of letters to ease her grief and encourage her to move forward. There's so many connections that Jamie and I have to this movie, despite the obvious of a person dying way too young. The movie was set in Ireland, which was one of his favorite places. Him and Madonna and Bridget did a tour there a couple of years back. He had traveled with the Celtic Fiddlers to Ireland. The guy who passed away in the movie was a musician. And ironically, at our wedding, the first song of this movie, I Love You Till the End, was our wedding song. So it seems only fitting to have the last song of the movie sang by Flogging Molly, one of Jamie's favorite bands, as his final send-off. The words are on the back of the pamphlet if people want to sing along. And I guess to close, Jamie, you always said I had to have the last word, so here I am. I love you. I miss you. But most of all, I'm so honored that you picked me to walk beside you in this life.
If I ever leave this world alive, I'll thank you for the things you did in my life. If I ever leave this world alive, I'll come back down and sit beside your feet tonight. Wherever I am, you'll always be more than just a memory. If I ever leave this world alive, if I ever leave this world alive, I'll take on all the sadness that I left behind. If I ever leave this world alive, the madness that you feel will soon subside. So in a word, don't shed a tear. I'll be here when it all gets weird. If I ever leave this world alive. Just call my name just before you go insane. If I ever leave this world, hey, I may never leave this world, but if I ever leave this world alive, she says, I'm okay, I'm alright. You have gone from my life. You said that it would. Now everything should be alright. She says, I'm okay, I'm alright. Though you have gone from my life. You said that it would. Now everything should be alright. If I ever leave this world alive, I'll thank you for the things you did in my life. If I ever leave this world alive, I'll come back down and sit beside your feet tonight. Wherever I am, you'll always be more than just a memory. If I ever leave this world alive, just before you go insane. If I ever leave this world, hey, I may never leave this world, but if I ever leave this world alive, she says, I'm okay, I'm alright, though you have gone from my life. You said that it would, now everything should be alright. She says, I'm okay, I'm alright, though you have gone from my life. You said that it would, now everything should be alright. Yeah, should be alright.
That mustache kills me every time. This Monday past, my wife and I were sitting at home, and I was piecing together the slideshows for Heather and composing some notes to read tonight, when a knock came on our door. It was friends of ours who just came home from a Mediterranean cruise. Actually, if I'm correct, I believe it was the same cruise you guys went on your honeymoon. During the time they were on board, the tragedy in Manchester, England happened. They held a special tribute in honor of the victims, and the ship's captain read a poem aloud. After hearing about Jamie, they brought a copy of home to us with hopes it would bring some solace and some comfort. I would like to read this to you this evening. It's called If I Knew. If I knew it would be the last time I'd see you fall asleep, I would tuck you in more tightly and pray the Lord your soul to keep. If I knew it would be the last time I see you walk out the door, I would give you a hug and kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time I'd hear your voice lifted up in praise, I'd for sure record each action and word so I could play them back every day. If I knew it would be the last time I tell you I love you, I would stop and say it instead of just assuming you knew. If I knew it would be the last time I'd be able to share your day, I would never take a day for granted and let this one slip away. But surely there's always tomorrow to make up for the oversight, and we've always got a second chance to make everything right. There will always be another day to say I love you, and certainly there's another chance to say anything I can do. But in case I might be wrong and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you and hope you never forget. Tomorrow is not promised for everyone, young and old alike. And today might be the last chance I get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret it anyway. That you didn't take the extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss. And you were just too busy to grant someone what might be their last wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear. Tell them how much you love them and how you always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and it's okay. If tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sharing in our celebration of Jamie's life here this evening. He was indeed a one-of-a-kind individual. He would have hated this evening, because all we would have heard was, oh my Jesus! That's all you would have got. He was indeed a one-of-a-kind individual with a good soul, and even though his physical was broken, he had a great heart. One that would swell enormously when full of family and friends. Heather, thank you for asking me to do this evening. It was my honor to be here this evening. I figure I'll leave you tonight with a song, some words from a song from the Beatles, In My Life. I figured it was appropriate to have it this evening. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one that compares to you. and all these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I never lose affection for people and things that went before, I know I'll often stop and think about them in my life. I love you more. Rest easy, brother, until we take the stage again. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know there's going to be some refreshments, tea and coffee and cookies and stuff in the lobby afterwards, so go enjoy yourself. Thank you so much.